Hello! If you have seen my previous spec bio videos, you may notice that I use Spore to create my 3D models for my creatures. A lot of you guys have been asking how I do that, so here we go. First things first, you're gonna need to open Spore. If you don't know what this is, it's a video game where you design your own creature, have it evolve over like the course of billions of years, and eventually take it into tribal stages, making civilizations, and eventually go into space. It's really fun, but it's also really old, so keep that in mind. Anyways, on with the tutorial. First thing is you're gonna need a creature. So in the main menu here, you're gonna want to go to the Create tab. And if you want to make a creature, that's this paw icon here. There are two sorts of creatures in Spore that you can make. An early creature, which is a lot more simpler, and a proper creature creator with a bunch more parts. For the purposes of this video, we're just gonna do the simple one, just for now. And here we are. Our guy is on the right here. If you click on it, you can see its spine, which you can elongate, or the opposite. If you hover your mouse over the spine until it's blue, you could actually manipulate the spine to make it whatever sort of curvature you want. And if you hover over the spine and scroll up or down, you can make the body bigger or smaller. On the left here are the parts that you can add to your creature. So we have legs here, and then this other tab, a bunch of body parts. Again, this is the simple creature creator, so a lot less parts to work with. But yeah, that's the basic gist of making the creature. For the purposes of this video, I'm just gonna make a worm. Simple worm. Get the fuck down there. Give it some body like that. Do worms have eyes? That's an interesting question. Do worms have eyes? Oh, wow. And that's not what I wanted. An eye worm? Get the fuck up! Right, they don't have eyes, but they need mouths. Oh yeah, heads up. Any creature that you make in Spore, you can't do anything with it, you can't export it, you can't play with it, unless it has a mouth. You can see up here, mouthless. I'm just gonna add this one. This one's my favorite mouth. Once you add a part, you could, again, manipulate it however you want. If you hover over it, scroll up, there you go. You can make it big. Oh shoot, yeah, I gotta give it a name. Okay, for some stupid reason, I put M as my mute button, and so when I typed in worm, I muted myself, so I'm just gonna narrate over all of this. So, if you don't want your creature to look like that, ugly green, and you're done modeling, there's that paint tab up here. Go to the paintbrush to do your paint tab. There's a bunch of default selection stuffs here, if you're like lazy, or this section here that goes by like layers. So you have the base layer, coat layer, and detail layer. Their names don't matter, again, they're all just layers. There's multiple pages that you could choose from. There's a bunch of colors that you could choose from. If you hold them down, there's a bunch even more colors you could choose from. Yeah, and it's so fucking cool how the most important part I've muted myself on. But once you're done painting, save, first of all. Yeah, good job me. Stay in the paint tab, yeah? Don't go back into modeling and do this next part. Go back into the paint tab. Control-Shift-C, I think. That brings up the cheat console. If you want to actually play Spore with cheats, there you go. You could look up a bunch of cheats online. But the thing we're going to use is the thing we need to actually export the 3D model and all the textures. I'm going to type it right now, it looks like. Come on. Fuck! But yeah, the command to export your 3D model is colladaexport. I'm going to show it up bigger on screen right now. I'm probably going to leave it in the description too, but colladaexport. And then once you have pressed enter, it's going to show the directory as to where it's exported. Again, go find it. Yeah, once you've exported it out of Spore, that file is probably going to look something like this. These are a bunch of icons that I've made for my other creatures. And here is our worm. It would have exported a DAE file, a specular map, a normal map, and a diffuse map. I highly recommend moving those 4 files somewhere else. So please do that. And before we open Blender, I need you to do this next step. Open the diffuse image file in paint.net. Paint.net specifically. I don't know how you're supposed to do this next step if you have anything other than paint.net, so paint.net. For some stupid reason, Spore exports its image file, the diffuse file, in inverted alpha, which means that it's all see-through. I'll show you what I mean in a second, but to reverse this, Control-A to select all the pixels, and then Control-Alt-I. Bam, that inverted the alpha values for each of these whatevers back to normal. And again, I'll show you what I mean here. So this is the texture for the guy's mouth. Again, you saw it once we were in Spore, in the model, yeah? This is what it was like before. It's all transparent. Control-Alt-I, back to normal, okay? This is fine now. Control-Shift-S to save it as a different file. I just put a 1 at the end, that's fine. And now you have that. We can open Blender. Yay, Blender, get out of here, get out of here. Okay, actually, we're not good. Not yet. In order to do this, you need a Blender version that's 4.55 or lower. Blender versions 5.0 or higher don't recognize the DAE file. This is the actual 3D model. If you're using 5.0 or higher, this no longer works. Again, Spore is old. Sorry, what are you gonna do? I'm using 4.5.5 right now. That's fine. But once you're here, open the file, select your DAE file, and then just drag it into this top section here. Bam. Big pop-up thing. Ignore everything except this blue button. Ta-da. Here's our work. Go into this tab here, the viewport shading rendered button. Click that to see how your creature is actually going to look like. Give it a second, because it takes a second. See, look at that. And basic performance stuff here. Go to this render camera icon. Bring these numbers down to like less than 10 or something. I like doing that. I just keep that at 2, honestly. And there we go. If you want to change the background color, go to the world icon, color, bam. I want it black. There we go. Now, your creature may look stupid right now. I'll show you how to fix that. So go to this bar up here until you see the 2 arrows. Drag that up, and then click the clock icon, and then go into shader editor. This is how we're gonna edit the look of our worm guy. Press N to get rid of that stupid thing. Oh yeah, the DAE file that imported into Blender already came with its own material, so we can already work with this. Select these 2 at the bottom, get rid of them, we don't need them. Get rid of you, we don't need you. All we need is this guy, the worm. Now this is using the default that it exported, the inverted alpha one, the stupid one. So open the file icon here, open image, select diffuse 1, and again, it still looks stupid, but hang on. Bring this roughness value up to 1 so it doesn't look like it's made of metal. And again, for some reason, the DAE file, put in an IOR of 0. That just breaks the material, so set it to 1. There's our guy. Yeah. 0.1. Yeah, that's way better. And if you just wanted to do all that, this is the end of the tutorial, but there's a lot of cleanup we need to do in order to make this perfect. For my standards, at least. For example, this armature thing. If you don't know what this is, this allows for 3D animation. However, it's broken. Again, Spore is old. This is all old and broken. So I would just select the armature, delete it. We keep our object. We can make our own armature, our own animation, set up later, but for now, we still need to clean a bunch of stuff up. Go into this wrench icon, get rid of the old armature. We don't need it again. And then scroll to this green triangle here that says data. There's a bunch of stuff. Okay, things look a little different because I'm recording this after the fact. I go on to talk about how you should get rid of all of these too. I learned something new about these. Do not get rid of these, because these are called vertex groups. If you're familiar with 3D modeling, you know what a vertex is. It's basically any corner of your 3D model. To clarify what I mean by this, press tab to go into edit mode, and you could see a wire mesh frame of the 3D model that we have here. Vertex groups are basically that, groups of these vertices. So let's see, if I click this one, I don't know, this one for example, and I click select, you can see that is the butt end of this worm here. If you want to scale some Spore parts up, like let's say I want to move this mouth around, I'm gonna have to figure out what vertex group that belongs to. Once you have all the vertices for one part selected, for in this instance the mouth, click this plus icon here to organize them all into its own final group, and then double click that, or whatever the fuck. And now you could again move this around however you want. See, it's just the mouth part. This is especially important because, oh shit, what did I do? This is especially important because whenever you export out of Spore, any like modifications you made to a Spore part in game, that won't translate into Blender for some stupid reason. So again, yeah, you could do the vertex group thing, assign them to a brand new group, and then modify that brand new group however you want. Make this fucking huge along a certain axis. Yeah, there you go. Final thing of changing we need to do. You notice that the body's up here, but this orange dot here, that's the center, the origin of our 3D model. Again, Spore's old technology, stupid things like that. So we're literally gonna need to shift every vertex that this 3D model is made of down to match up with the origin. So press tab to go into edit mode. You will see all the vertices right there. Press A to select all the vertices. They'll be highlighted orange. And then click the 4 arrows icon here that says move. And then move them down to wherever you feel like. Once they're moved, press tab again. Done. Now, I get to show you how to animate. But first we need our timeline back. So go into this tiny little corner until you see the crosshair. Drag to the left to split that into 2. Go to the sphere icon, bring the clock back. There's our timeline. Yay. Now, in order to add back the armature, which allows us for 3D animation, we're gonna need to do this very precisely. So click the blue Z up here to bring us into orthographic view, where we can line everything up perfectly. And then Shift A to add whatever you want. We're gonna add an armature. Where are you? Armature right there. Bam. Now we have a fun little guy here. This is our bone. And if I remember correctly, this is the head or the front. This is the bottom or the back. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it matters anyways, but we're gonna have to obviously move this around. So press tab to go back into edit mode, select the top bit, and then move it. I'm assuming this is the head, so bring the head to the front. Ah, right. Now, as you can see, it's inside the body of the guy. As you have your armature selected, scroll down to viewport display, how it's going to display in the viewport, and then click in front so we can actually see it. Now we can make some finer adjustments. And if you're concerned about 3D-ness, you could press any of these X, Y, Z buttons to make it orthographic. And if you want to make new bones for extra parts of your guy, I think it's E? Yes, press E to add another bone. And then you can manipulate that however you feel like. And it looks like I fucked up here, so I'm just gonna select everything, and then move all this back here. And there's our skeleton, but we actually need to link the armature to the object. There's a much better tutorial on armatures, 3D animations. I linked it in the description. That's the one I use. But once you're happy with your skeleton, you've moved everything to where you want them to be, tab back into object mode, select your object, and then control select your armature, so it selects both at the same time. Control P, and armature to form with automatic weights. Bam! Now our armature and our object are linked. Now, we can actually animate the body of this guy. So, go to this drop-down menu up here where it says object mode, click that, and go to pose mode. Now, we could select our bones and pose them. Yee! Yay! It's even more fun when you're actually good at 3D animation. But for now, I'll just show you something basic. Again, this is just a worm. Oh yeah, first things first, while we're still in pose mode, select A to select all our bones, and then press I. That just saved this first initial pose as a keyframe in there. Okay, I figured out what I did wrong. I have to press I while my mouse is in the viewport. I can't go through here and select I, or else that's gonna pop up again and be stupid. Press A, and then press I, and then go to a different time. Move our bones to wherever we want. Oops, uh-oh. Oh, ew, I did something weird. Ew. Then press I again. And if your armature, if your bones are getting in the way of actually seeing your animation, you could click this eyeball right there next to the armature. Just turns it off for you. Now, let's see what this is all about. I think I forgot to press A. There we go. Eyeball. Let's go. Oh yeah, these two here determine the start and end of your animation in frames. If you want to shorten that, press the end there, 50 or however long your thing wants to be. There we go. There's our animation. Again, if you're better at this than I am, make something better than what I did. Yeah, that's it. And here's our worm guy with all of the other guys that I've made throughout this series. Again, it's a worm, quite small. White cylinder is a human to scale. Don't mind the lag, there's a lot of stuff going on and my laptop cannot handle it. Might as well spoil the rest of Spec Bio for you guys. Fucking whatever. Hopefully this video was like, first of all, good. Second of all, interesting. Again, there's a much better tutorial on animation stuffs in the description. Go watch that one if you're interested in any of this. But yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, a lot of you guys ask about lore. The lore of Capitoline, we are not ready for that. I do have all the information. I'm just gatekeeping for now, okay? You're not ready for it. But yeah, that's it. Bye.